doing different. And it's nice to see you in person. I've seen you on UNTV, Channel 150 at noon, the spokesman for the UN.
I'm actually a journalist.
No, I know you're a journalist.
Always, yeah. So I'm Matthew Lee with Inner City Press, and as you said, I cover the UN. So I wanted to ask, I guess part of this is kind of a legal question, which is that what impact, if any, have UN sanctions? There's sanctions on DRC, both in terms of weapons and, I read these long sanction reports which have pictures of bags of minerals being taken out. Sometimes it says that the Congolese army is involved as well, or the FDLR. So there are a lot of groups, but I wanted to know if anywhere in this legal case, the idea of an existing kind of international sanctions regime has come up. Does this replace it? Does it work in conjunction with it? And also I wanted to ask what you think of the UN peacekeeping mission and its success or lack thereof after spending $1 billion a year for the last decade.
So I think I can answer the first part of your question, but not the second. In terms of the legal challenge, UN sanctions have not come up in the course of the litigation. The litigation is based on an administrative law and First Amendment challenge. So I think it's sort of a separate track from what you're asking about.
The only other thing I would just add with the legal challenge is if you take a look, if you read the Federal Register, and if you also read the transcript of the open hearing where the SEC promulgated the rule, what the chief economist of the SEC said is, we have no discussion, there's no discussion of benefits because we can't quantify them. So the SEC went into this and said, there's no way we can determine if this is going to actually achieve the intent of passing 1502, which is when you then read Commissioner Paradis' dissent, he said, well, this is supposed to stop conflict in Congo. We have no data to even know if that's going to do it. So the question is, with the benefits, we have no clue if that's going to happen. And quite frankly, I think if you try and look at a solution, it has to come from other places. I mean, if the SEC couldn't stop Bernie Madoff or figure Bernie Madoff out, right? If the SEC had taken bank records and taken financial statements, they could have figured Bernie Madoff out in a day. You really think the SEC is going to stop violence in Congo? It's not what they're made to do.
On the intervention brigade, the reports that I've gotten is that they successfully got M23 out of Goma. The final report I haven't seen, perhaps you have.
No, I mean, I think there are a lot of, it's the first time where the UN is actually charged with affirmatively neutralizing an attacking group. So some Tanzanian peacekeeper was killed. There's different questions about whether it makes the UN like a party to an armed conflict where, in fact, rebels could legally shoot at it without it being a war crime. So there's anyway, but I almost this is like the tail end of the MONUSCO process. There's been a peacekeeping mission there since more than 10 years. And I just wonder, do you think it's been effective at all? I guess that's for you, Kumar, if you don't mind.
It's really up to the commander of the MONUSCO forces. Whenever you have, for example, Patrick Cameron, he did some great work. It really depends on the courage of the commander to go against whatever you may be hearing and understand the local reality. But then you also have who gives the mandate to the UN forces. It's such a responsibility on the Security Council. We are in a very complex situation right now where one of the nations, Rwanda, is a member of the Security Council. When Rwanda is implicated in supporting the rebels. And then you have two of the permanent members, the United States and the UK, specifically the United States, when Susan Rice was around, will maneuver some things that may not be effective. So it's really challenging that the whole UN body, they've done great work at times where they protect the civilians. They have been implicated in some of the violence, some of the rapes. The Pakistani troops sold their weapons from gold one time. But then they follow what the Security Council tell them to do. So it's the courage of the commander.
We have